A morning to be remembered. No, it's just another morning. In the world of that pesky conniving son of a gun, Mark reviews. So the first 15 seconds of whatever are done, and we can get on with the real video. Anyway, just the other day I made another video, and this video was about explaining how poorly the church is doing when it comes to marketing and bringing the new generations into the mix, but also the older generations that, for some reason left the church or no longer interested in the church. When bringing leaflets such as these to them, life has changed. The way people think and their perception of the church has changed. So just bringing this kind of content to them, once again, the same stuff over and over, reminding people you must die is and all kinds of stuff that, like the first thing that you get reminded of every single time you go to an Italian church, at least when I used to be in Italy, was remember that you will die. And they keep drilling this into your mind over and over. And so eventually a lot of people just decide that they're done with the whole process and they don't really want to be in there. Luckily, the American and some of the other churches in England and stuff like that, other places where I've been, are not so much about that. So then they're more accommodating, and people are more likely to go in there. There's happier atmosphere. But if you give leaflets like these out, and again, people might have thought that that was just me bashing the church. It is not me bashing the church. I'm just saying, just saying that if you want to bring people to the church, more people back to the old way of doing things or whatever it is, some of the old principles, some of the stuff that still applies today that is still worth looking into and with good values, this is really not the way to go. And so that was my little rant that I did on a previous live stream. I'm not going to go into what I said in that one. You guys can go check it out if you're interested in that. That's not what this is today, but I just wanted to clarify that because, it's going to be, oh, you're a Bible basher. You hate the church and all that stuff. Nothing could be further from the truth. But I'm saying from a marketing perspective and stuff, life and the way people think is very different. We're still using old English and stuff like that, and also misprinted bits and pieces. I don't think that this has had a second set of eyes or third set of eyes or enough eyes looking at this to make sure that it is done well. And the booklet that came with this one, there's a little storybook that came with it, was of very poor quality. It fell apart as I was reading it. That doesn't give, a whole lot of value to the whole proposition. So anyway, those were my thoughts on that. I just want to bring some ideas, especially if the church is falling apart and nobody's going there anymore. It must be also because of poor marketing, It doesn't just happen like that. Anyway, also was giving you guys some insight on some of the possibilities that go out of the box in that video, some of the things that kids may be talking about, or people in general, the modern generations may be talking about when looking at the Bible, and how some of the old language may be very offensive to the new way of thinking. Anyway, so again, as usual, I'll start up here by showing you guys. On the left, we have TikTok. On the right, we have YouTube. And notice how attainable goals. We're getting close to 2,000 subscribers here on one platform. On the other one, we keep losing subscribers. We've been in the range of 1,590, going it topped off at 1,595, and now it keeps going down. So just showing you guys, so you're putting a lot of effort and time into a platform that isn't giving you anything, while people like Rolo make a video and talk some absolute crap about valuetainment, trying to trash the brand, and they're getting millions and gazillions of views and stuff. Again, this is not me being envious. This is just me showing you guys you're putting time into YouTube, and YouTube is not loving you. It's loving those people who create the divisive content, the clickbait and drive bad energy towards other people content. And the new CEO is not doing anything else to fix it. So again, is it getting better? No, it's not. It's not. Rollo is still jumping. You know, like what was that? One of the ducks from DuckTales, Uhu, one of the older people. He had a big, he had a big vault, and he'd jump into his money like that. So that's Rollo and a bunch of those people creating drama. Jumping in the cash, while the good people are not making any progress at all with their YouTube channels. Just saying, just saying. So again, TikTok, pretty in, and on the other side, YouTube, not so in, not so useful in the modern era. So again, attainable goals, guys. You want to have, you want to put in the work, want to put in the hours, work smart. Use a platform that actually does something useful for you until they cancel it, because they're probably going to cancel it eventually. It's doing too well. That's the thing, right? TikTok is doing too well, and the wrong people on the wrong side of history are probably going to try to tank it out, destroy it, because they usually destroy anything that's good. So yeah, they're probably going to destroy TikTok, which is kind of like the savior these days. I'm not going to talk about some of the other platforms that are similar to TikTok that are doing really well too, because I don't want to put a target on their back. So I'll just say TikTok, because TikTok seems to be strong enough to survive at this point in time. Zin, unfortunately, did not make it. That was a Taiwanese TikTok. That one failed, guys. That was another one of my favorite platforms. There was Dub Smash that was supposed to be part of Reddit. Does anybody know if it ever became part of Reddit? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the usual drama is still out there, and we're just witnessing it on a daily basis. Again, it is still super profitable to make videos talking crap about other YouTubers and stuff like that for clicks and views, simply because there's no real added value to humanity or anyone else other than just making a lot of money for your own YouTube channel by trashing other people's hard work, And so anyway, that is pretty much the issue that we're facing in the modern times today. So the good part of religion is slowly fading away. The good part of good sound principles and guidelines and ways of life is slowly completely becoming eradicated and replaced by people like Rollo. Again, this is not really me just trashing Rollo. Rollo is just one of the many, but he was one of the first that started the movement of the rational man or something, where he was promoting like, the certain way of life that was kind of antiquated, where, going back to the old times when men were the only people who could work, men were the only people who could lead a family unit and stuff like that. We know that humanity has evolved, that males and females, and there's even the non-binary category, again, like people screaming about there's only two sexes. That is so reductionistic. It is so rudimentary, especially because science has taught us time and time again that there have always been three sexes: male, female, and hermaphrodite. And this is something that's been common knowledge for I don't know how many decades now, and we're still like, there's only two sexes. Okay. Let's just ignore science, right? Let's ignore science altogether. And then we have problems with, the viruses and stuff like that, because people are not educated enough to understand what's going on, what's this, what that, with the herd immunity that turned out to be what was necessary in the end. Like, there's only so much you can do with antiviruses and stuff like that. Eventually, the herd immunity thing does need to become a thing, but you can at least mitigate the problem with vaccines and stuff, so that the most vulnerable, right, the most vulnerable can be saved. Sometimes there's no real solution to a problem. It's just here's one option that's pretty bad. Here's another option that's pretty bad. On both sides of the argument, people are going to die. And then you're just forced as a leader to make one or the other, make a decision to go either one way or the other. And on both sides of the situation, people will die. Just like in a fire, um, on one side you have a little boy who's stuck in one area of the house. On the other side, there may be like a young lady. And then who do you save? Which one do you go to save if you can only save one, right? It's like one of those impossible scenarios. And there can be things, that you can put into the equation. Like, is it more likely for you to be able to save that one person that's in one of the rooms because that fire maybe hasn't gotten there yet or something like that, that you can put into the equation? But still, life is a life, and as a human, you would like to save everybody, right? That's the thing. So yeah, we're going into a very interesting time, and I explained this in another video before, where uh, the modern generations are less likely to become enamored with another one of their own species. When it's like, why put the effort into a relationship when you can buy a robot, right? When you can buy a robot, the robot will never leave you, the robot will never insult you, the robot will never push you or pressure you. And at the same time, the robot will never make you a better person either, because sometimes the whole point, if some of the value, let's say, in a relationship is also that you do get some pushback from your partner, which does help you improve yourself. Like if men were if men were to be by themselves all the time, I doubt they would wash as much as they would when they are in a relationship, because luckily the female of the species tends to be cleaner than the male, so there's a reason why the female will then expect the male to be a little bit more cleaner and stuff. So I mean, there are things, right, for which one of the binary system in the relationship is required, right, to elevate the other one, and vice versa. And then of course there's so many different combinations, and as I said, back in the day when I was growing up, there was only one blueprint available for a successful life. Now there are many many different blueprints that can be successful, and that have been approved by the system of ways of life. And so with modern times, with different ways of doing things, again, the reality needs to adapt to the current state of events. But change is difficult, as they say. And so there's actually a fun video that recently came out from Chris, of all people, Chris Cuomo, of all people. No, I'm just joking. You know, there were some really bad times back then, when it was all about the left versus the right, and it got really, really, really bad. I'm hoping those times will never return, because, again, sometimes what happens is political leaders cast a spell on other humans, and they create a certain level of division which is so strong, where only one of the two can be so successful and so perfect. And so people fall into this sort of cultist mentality, where one way of life is the only way of life, one truth is the only truth, and stuff like that. And we all know that perhaps that is no more in the modern era, so that there are multiple truths available, and in some cases, those two kinds of truths can coexist, and people can, if they put the effort in, live with the fact that there are multiple truths. And so long as those multiple truths don't step on each other's toes, it can be okay. Everything can be okay. So yeah, anyway, I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I hope you guys are living your version of the American dream. If you're in America, if you're living somewhere else, you're having the best time that you possibly can have wherever you are living if you're watching this. And yeah, I'm just hoping for a better tomorrow where people can learn to be more forgiving and understanding towards each other, and just live better, more respectful lives. Again, as I said before, one of the top things about Christianity and the whole thing is, is the idea of unlocking that Christ consciousness, which basically means try to be a half decent human being and not create more drama in your own sphere. Again, I stay away from red pill, black pill, any of the labels. I stay away from all of them. What I believe in is that we can change the world to make it more inclusive and just a better place for everybody. Like those people who are out there making all the rules, setting up the way the game is played. If you're not trying to elevate the human condition so that more and more people can just live happier lives, and you're sending money that could go to good causes such as fixing homelessness, and you're just creating some kind of deals with other countries and other things and doing, backdoor deals and things like that, is really, as I said before, if we can fix things logically and do things more logically and for the greater good of more people, especially ordinary people, I think that is just a better way to do things. Again, even if you support the sort of what people call bottom feeders of society, it really doesn't take away almost anything at all from the top 1% of the sort of the rich people. And so the idea is that we need the top 1% to keep innovating, creating new things, being successful and stuff like that. But at the same time, we need to remember, especially because a lot of those people used to be not so fortunate themselves, and they found a way to get out of that. But they need to remember, they need to go back and remember what that was like, so that they don't, basically destroy all the chances and the possibilities for other people to become successful someday. And that is what I'm seeing and ranting about a lot these days, is when you keep raising or lowering the bar so that the people who are doing high jump can never make it over that bar, or people are doing limbo can never get under that bar, eventually that causes some really bad social events. And so just work together. Just work together. We need rich people. We need people at the bottom. We need alphas and we need sigmas and we need betas. We need the whole. There's a whole variety of people, and we need them all to be able to live and thrive on planet Earth. So if we're not working on that, then we're working against that, and so we are part of the problem, not the solution. So let's just think about that for a moment and see if we can make a positive change so that more people can feel comfortable and happy to live the experience on planet Earth. Again, everybody has their own way of doing things. For me, I just wanted to live on planet Earth and live experiences, do things, experiment with things. For me, it's not about collecting items. For me, it's not about becoming the richest man on Earth. It's just living experience, understanding things. If I could bring all the knowledge that I have learned over the course of 40 years into the next life, or hopefully not come back to planet Earth and be a human again, possibly to become elevated to a creature of higher development. That's my goal. That's my goal as a human, is to possibly be able to get past all the things that we trudge into, that we trudge through as humans, our weaknesses here. But anyway, again, I don't walk on water. In fact, if you guys know me, you know that I have basically no buoyancy in water. Although I'm a pretty good swimmer, which not being buoyant is pretty good for like snorkeling and scuba diving and a bunch of other activities, but the only way I would ever walk on water is if I went to Canada or found a nice sheet of ice that was strong enough to support my weight. But that's just cheating, right? Using science to make it happen. On regular fluids, I sink to the bottom very fast, faster than most people, in fact. Anyway, with that said, guys, just wanted to do a quick flight today. Just bringing back this awesome plane that I am destroying for you guys. And just wishing you a happy weekend. Hopefully you guys will go out and do something, as I usually say, do something ballsy, but in a good way. Everybody seems to be jumping on the Rolo train and doing something ballsy in a bad way, creating negativity, divisiveness, creating the system of outrage that makes a bunch of useless people who don't really deserve the money become extra rich. Whilst other people who could, I recently put on that famous like Instagrammable wall here on the YouTube that nobody gets to see. There's a video of somebody who is a really good artist, and they've created this whole like mechanical thing with balls. The balls go through this really cool track. It makes music, it makes sound, and it's really fascinating. They must have taken them forever to build, to construct, to think about how that would work, and then to be able to film it and put it on their video. Of course, something like that gets absolutely almost no views at all, but something like Rolo that decides to talk a bunch of nonsense, to be honest, because if people have seen valuetainment videos and stuff like that, that they try to keep a low-key respective view, and they try to be like sort of arbitrators in between, showing you different opinions and ways of doing stuff. So they don't really opine, or they don't really get into the nitty-gritty or say this one's bad, this one's better, or whatever. They just let people in the audience make up their own minds of which way, which kind of system is better, which kind of way of life is better, which kind of whatever is better in their own opinions. But you know that people who may be becoming less relevant usually just lash out the most. And it's sad to see a 50-year-old man making up lies about a brand just to attempt to stay relevant in a time that, is ever so divisive still. So we're hoping, like one of the things that I like to point out is it's so refreshing to see someone like Donald Duck, who earlier was so much in the middle of the drama, causing the drama, but he hasn't done a single tweet. I think that is very refreshing. Could that be a sign of improvement? I would think so. I don't know. Again, I don't vote. I'm out of politics. The whole thing makes me too frustrated to be in there. But to see a politician that was all about the drama, who got back onto 2 or more platforms from which he was removed, and not using those platforms to cause unnecessary drama, I think that is pretty cool. I think that gives him a couple of points. Again, I'm not a Trump fan in the slightest. I've been talking about how the whole debacle was a mess. I try to call him Donald Duck to avoid bringing up the Trumpism and all the trumpets against anti-trumpets and all that stuff. But I think it's kind of refreshing that he didn't play into the hands of social media, and he didn't do a Rolo in this case, right? He could have started tweeting a bunch of crap. So long as he stays off the Twitter, that in my opinion, gives him a lot of points. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm sure that they are unhappy, unpopular thoughts, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I personally commend Donald Duck for not getting on the Twitter and starting up another mess, because if he does, he will get a lot of viewership and stuff, but that could cause a lot of unwanted stuff to happen, and it's nice that he's not doing that. So anyway, again, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I trash pretty much anyone, left, right, up, down, whatever. I don't take any particular side. When people are doing something that I'm not happy with, I will just point it out. Otherwise, I just don't say anything at all. Anyway, so with that, guys, I just want to wish you guys a fantastic weekend. I'm gonna see if I can sort of land this thing. I love this plane. Bouncy land, but we're gonna take that. We're gonna take that because I've got to make a sandwich. I gotta make a nice sandwich for my daughter for her breakfast, and so I'll do that. But before I go, I will do the usual thing that I always say, which is, where is it? Thank you to Captain Drone, of course, but Spectrum, and Horizon Hobby, always Captain Drone, and all the awesome channels in the background, which I made a whole video just going through all the awesome channels in the background, which I watch regularly and that make me happy. And again, thank you so much to Horizon Hobby for providing us with, yes, you've guessed it, Real Flight Evolution, which is a great thing. And we'll see you all next time in the next video. Take care, guys.